gets better. Say that it gets better. O-P-S, I'm O-P-S, I'm gay-ish.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish, the podcast that by any other name would smell just like meat. I am Kyle Getz, and I am here with special guest co-host Josh Galassi. Hey, Josh.
Hey, guys, it's actually Mike.
Oh, Mike, I didn't see you come in there.
This is all just a prank.
You sound so manly and butch, like always.
I try. Hi, guys, it's actually me, Josh.
Oh, okay.
The ruse is over.
It's over. You fooled us, and now you pulled a mask off your face, and you're Josh. We are here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. So, Josh, we brought you on, one, because White Mike was gone. He is in Russia. But also because we're going to talk about homophobes.
Oh, my God, my favorite topic on a Tuesday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's like what you like to do anyways?
Always, of course.
Homophobes?
First thing, as soon as I wake up, it's the first thing I think about.
Okay, good. Which, do you have one in particular that you just go right to in your memory?
So many. Kim Davis.
Oh,
oh my God,
one.
so many.
Yeah. Michael Che.
Yeah. I want to say Donald Trump, but I feel like that's just an obvious choice.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
got to go for like the less ones, like Todd from down the street.
Yeah, like we need to be more unique about our homophobes.
So we're each going to talk about one story about homophobes.
Yes.
But before we do that, just tell me a little bit about, do you want to do any kind of introduction, who you are and why you're sitting here talking to me?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Josh, and I did an interview with you guys, I think I don't know how many episodes ago. It was a while ago, but I had such a great time, and so I was super honored when you guys decided to ask me back to co-host in Mike's absence. So.
Yeah, we've never had a guest co-host.
Oh my gosh, well, I hope I measure up.
My dog is just choking over his excitement over there.
As he should.
Do you get a lot of people choking around you? Or?
Yeah, it's a common occurrence. I can't help it.
Okay.
Myself included.
Oh, okay. Wait, never mind. I won't go down that road.
Let's not talk about it.
You also write for Queerty. You work in PR. What else is there about you that we should know?
Yeah, I do write for Queerty. I don't know. I haven't actually written in a while, but I think I'm going to change that. I have some stuff in the works, and so yeah, hopefully it'll all be good stuff. I also love my wine, as you can see from the full glass that I have in front of me. For those who can't actually see it,
meaning hopefully most people can't see it, because if they could, they are looking through the window.
Yes. They would also see that I'm sweating bullets. It's so hot.
It's very hot. So Rosé is trying to help cool us down. The good thing about having you co-host is that there's only the good kind of alcohol on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Mike likes to drink brown stuff like beer and like scotch and stuff.
Oh my gosh. Poor taste.
I know, right? So
yeah, we've
got just class.
Like, talk about Chewbuck Chuck. That's where the quality is at.
Exactly. 100%. Well, okay. So the topic is homophobes and homophobia. So did you growing up experience a lot of homophobia?
Yeah, I think in multiple ways I experienced it. I grew up in a fairly conservative part of Montana, and so there's a lot of outward homophobia, just, people throwing the word faggot around, using faggot as a super derogatory term, and I think
to you as well?
Yeah, well, I wasn't actually out until after college, and I like to think I was pretty straight acting, but I think for me, more than the outward homophobia, I think I experienced a lot of internalized homophobia, because I grew up with this idea that I was dirty, that being gay was a sin, and, with my parents, they would see, a gay couple on TV and they'd be like, ew, that's disgusting. And so I kind of grew up with this mentality that I was disgusting and that my sexuality was something that was dirty, that needed to be changed, and that it was different and weird. And so I think, more than like outward homophobia, I probably experienced more internal. So
Did you grow up in a religious house?
Yeah, it was fairly religious. I went to Bible camp every summer, and we went to church on Sundays, and I think even going into college, I got involved with the college ministry. So religion was always a huge part of my journey, I suppose. And it wasn't until college that I realized the more I got involved with faith, the more shitty I felt about myself, because it was like everybody was telling me that like being gay was a sin, that it was, something that was wrong and, immoral. And so, yeah, I had a great childhood full of happy memories.
Well, it's interesting because I have the same thing. Like, I definitely, like, when I think about homophobia, I almost feel a little bit guilty that I didn't I didn't experience a lot of outward homophobia. Things that you say, like, I'd always hear things from classmates about, like, I don't know, just making gay jokes or things you saw on TV. But I don't feel like I was ever like personally like bullied or attacked for being gay, but I still have that internalized homophobia, and I'm also like have a lot of mental health issues that came because of that. Sister. But I feel guilty that I have those, because there are some people out there that were like actually bullied and beaten up and had a lot more shit happen to them. Right,
exactly. I know. We had less than 100 kids in our high school, and I think there was one out gay guy, and just seeing what he went through, it was enough for me to not want to come out ever, just because he was always getting like made fun of. During assemblies, if he would talk, people would be like, ooh, ooh, and like just the shit that and the turmoil that he had to go through. Just seeing what he went through, I just realized that I never wanted to deal with that, so I just hid my sexuality until I couldn't take it anymore. So
same for me. I grew up in suburb of Houston, so also pretty conservative. There was one gay kid I can remember, and I don't know, I remember it being like a big topic of conversation. The biggest thing I can remember is he put a story in the yearbook about coming out to his mom, and basically there was this big backlash against that, and they recalled all the yearbooks and reprinted them.
Damn.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, it's different than like, people, I don't know all the details of what he went through, but I never heard stories about him getting beat up or called a faggot or but it was still shitty in a way.
Yeah, it's almost like systematic homophobia within the school system. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just like a bunch of little things over the course of a lifetime that add up to, I guess, my experience of homophobia, and also just like you said, like internalized homophobia that I've gathered. I think the like pretending to be straight thing did a whole lot of damage on my like self-acceptance and ability to have like confidence in myself. So those are a lot of fun issues that I've worked through.
It's all great. Moral of the story: religion is great for sexuality. You should just mix them together all the time.
They go really well.
Yeah.
Like a big gay religious Jello mold that
beautiful
give out to
or
everyone
a bun
on Christmas.
cake. Those are amazing.
Oh yeah, do you cook?
No. I mean, I try. I like to pretend I do, but no.
Okay. I mean, if you count dipping a cookie in icing, like that's all. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's no Mike reads the news this time. Mike isn't here. That's his business. So if you want
to make the news,
this is the news. We will be the news.
Yes.
If you want to know what happened in the news, go read it yourself. And
good advice.
Mike will tell you about it next time, I guess, because he'll be back by then.
We just won't know what's happening in the world until Mike gets back.
No. Yeah. Although then again, like often all I listen to is podcasts, so sometimes that's not okay. So we're gonna tell each other stories about homophobes.
Yay, story time.
So I'm going to jump in first, and I'm going to tell you a story about a really influential case that involved homophobes and a gay guy. Well, a few gay people, but
So many gays.
so
I didn't know gay people were a part of this podcast.
Oh, right. By the way, if you didn't know,
Spoiler alert.
their people were gay, and it didn't turn out too great for them. I'll just go ahead and let you know
too
that
soon.
in advance. Okay, so our story starts October 27th, 1992. Dorothy Hajdys was at home, and there are two sailors dressed in blues that come to her door, and they tell her that her son, Alan Schindler Jr., was dead. 1 week later, so she had a hard time getting any information from the Navy, who's in the Navy, but 1 week later, she was told that her son was killed by fellow shipmates.
Oh, shit.
Eventually, the Navy was really tight-lipped, but a reporter told her that her son was gay. She didn't know that until that point. And the paper this reporter wrote for had received a letter from 3 gay men that knew her son, Alan, and said the ship he was on, the Bilu Wood, which was stationed in Japan, had a climate of bigotry. So after learning a whole lot, trying to piece together what happened to her son, a lot of this I got from a New York Times article by Jesse Green. And in the article, it said, quote, "It wasn't long before Dorothy began wondering who cared more about her son, the Navy, in which 3 generations of her family had served, or the gay community, which she had not known until recently, even known she was a part of." So I'm going to back up and now tell you about her son, Alan Schindler Jr.
Drink.
Is it like every time the dogs bark, take a drink?
Yeah, every time they bark. Gotta take a double gulp if both of them bark.
Did I hear? Am I crazy? Did I hear a person?
I don't know.
Okay, I might have made that up.
They just had a moment. It was a spirit.
Oh God!
It was the ghost of this man that got murdered.
Oh no! He's here with us.
Oh God!
Oh wait, he probably likes us.
Yeah, I think he's down with us.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, he's cool.
He can hang out with us.
He can sit in an empty seat beside you.
Yeah.
and listen to his story.
Yeah.
Okay, where did I? Okay. Alan Schindler Jr. was born on December 13th, 1969 in Chicago Heights. And as you heard, he was from a naval family. So when he was 18, he signed up for the Navy. And he served as a radio man on the USS Blue Wood. And during this time, this was some time period in the 90s. No, late 80s.
Okay.
So in this point in time, the being gay in the military was grounds for being automatically discharged. There were stories about gay sailors that, gay sailors were sometimes punched in their face in their sleep. They were doused with lighter fluid and lit on fire. Some gay sailors were lost at sea, like AKA just killed at sea.
It's awful.
And apparently this ship that he was on, the Blue Wood, was the worst ship of all. So not a great place for him to be. Schindler complained about anti-gay harassment. The complaints he'd made, things like gluing his locker shut. People made comments to him like, "There's a faggot on this ship and he should die." He wrote that he was being harassed 24 hours a day. And his friends, he wrote that because his friends told him he should keep a record of the harassment, which he did. He told his superiors that he was gay and wanted a discharge. The superior said he needed to stay on the ship and wait to go through the discharge process. So even though he was dealing with all of this homophobia and things that were basically threats to his life, he did as he was ordered and stayed on the ship. He was so frustrated at one point when they were traveling from Pearl Harbor this ship was based in Japan, in Sasebo Naval Base in Japan. He made a prank announcement over the radio that was basically these letters 2QT2BSTR8. So basically it said too cute to be straight.
At least he's clever.
I know. I thought that like made him seem really adorable.
He's got a sense of humor.
Yeah. And I think he's basically just like, I want off this ship.
Yeah.
And he's like goofing around and
he's trolling everybody.
exactly. Yeah. So and this is before like text messages like this were even popular, so he's ahead of his time. So he sent that to another ship. His captain, Douglas Bratt.
Fucking Doug. Can feel it already.
I didn't realize until I'm saying it out loud. Brat, like B-R-A-D-T. Is that Brat?
Brat?
Yeah. All right. He kind
Like
of.
he's a brat?
Yeah. He was more of a dick bag, but like that's fine. Douglas Bratt called him in to punish him for that unauthorized message. Of course, that's not allowed. So so Schindler asked to be for the hearing, the punishment hearing, to be closed, but the captain left it open, and there were 200 to 300 people in attendance.
Damn.
So if people didn't already know he was gay, then
Now they know.
now everyone knows.
Yeah.
And like he basically, this captain, I think like put him in a dangerous situation by just keeping this open and making sure everyone knew he was gay.
Yeah.
So he was put on restrictive leave. He couldn't leave the ship. He wants to get off the ship, but you don't know. So on they get to drink. Hey doggies, you can chill out because I don't think there's anything.
There's only one that time. We can only take one drink.
Ah, damn it. All right, so they get to Sasebo, Japan, on October 27th, 1992. They're one of his Schindler's shipmates, airman apprentice Terry Helvey, and two of his sailors got off. They purchased 2 large bottles of whiskey, a bottle of schnapps, a bottle of vodka, orange juice, and a 6-pack of beer, and went drinking in the park.
Sounds like it should be a good time, but I feel like it's going to take a turn.
It's, I mean, whiskey, schnapps, vodka, and beer, like
it's a pretty bad
mixing all
combo.
those.
But
I mean, I guess if you're like if you're in the Navy on a boat,
yeah, they need some release somehow. I guess they're just gonna have a trash fire of a drink.
yeah. I mean, I wish although how they didn't. Well, yeah, you're right. It doesn't go so great. So later, witnesses say that Helvey went into the bathroom park. And wait. Witnesses say they heard a noise from a park in the bathroom. They thought they heard a man and woman having sex in there. So they walked in, and witnesses saw Helvey jumping on Schindler's body while singing, which is a creepy image. And blood was gushing from Schindler's mouth.
Oh my God.
He was trying to breathe. They left him lying on the bathroom floor. So Schindler had 4 fatal injuries to his chest, head, and abdomen. His head was crushed. His ribs were broken. His penis was cut. He had sneaker tread marks stamped on his forehead and chest, and every organ in his body was destroyed.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's insane that people can do that.
Like,
mutilate other people like that. That's like animalistic.
Yeah. And like when I get drunk, like I'd make not great decisions, but it's like
you don't go and cut off dicks.
Yeah. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
I like
you consume them.
I make out with people like I guess I do like loving things now that I think about it. I'm super drunk. So like the fact that, I completely agree. I think it gets creepier. One witness said that it seemed like he was dancing.
Weird. It's like Glee murder.
Exactly.
Like, what's happening?
It sounds like he's singing and looks like he's dancing on this guy. Yeah, it sounds like he's enjoying this.
That's insane.
The medical examiner said his injuries were worse than as if he had gotten trampled on by a horse, and it was closer to like someone who had been in a high-speed car crash.
Damn.
Not that we need anything else to make this more depressing, but the day he was murdered, October 27th, was Navy Day.
Oh my God.
Don't know what that is or means, but it's
a sad day regardless.
Don't murder people on Navy Day.
Don't do it, or any holiday,
or guess any holiday, or guess any day. If
at
we're
least
gonna really...
wait till the day after Christmas to murder people.
It's like breaking up with someone on a birthday. Just wait the day after.
Exactly.
No, don't murder people. So later, people identify the attacker as Terry Helvey and one of his accomplices as Charles Vins. So when it started getting to the aftermath, the Wikipedia says the Navy was less than forthcoming, and that is the nicest way to say they were dickbag assholes.
It's a very PR answer.
Yeah, I think it's what Wikipedia has to do to try to maintain. So like I told you at the beginning, no one would explain what happened to Alan, to his mom. She would get information from reporters. She started actually piecing together things from other people telling her information. That record that his friends told him to keep of all the harassment he was receiving. Hey, Boomer, do you want to come chill out? Do you want to be chill? That wasn't a bark, but I still drank.
Yes.
The record that his friends told him to keep of all the harassment on the ship, the Navy did not include that in the belongings that they gave back to his mom. So they were actively hiding what he was going through. They denied that they ever received complaints of harassment, even though we know that's not true. They didn't speak publicly about the case. They didn't release the Japanese police report. So basically, they were the only reason we know a lot of the information is either through people that told reporters or told his mom what they knew, or it was over 20 years later, someone, a gay rights activist, filed a Freedom of Information request to get all this information and learned, oh, there actually is this documentation of harassment, or he did go to his superiors. So they didn't know a lot of this information at the time.
That's crazy. That's so much effort to cover up.
I know, right?
So many things, yeah.
Which, it's so crazy how, at this time, and then also, I'm sure it still happens, but they're all on the side of they're on the side of the people that killed one of their fellow.
Right, the side of bigotry, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not obviously the guy that killed him is a shithead, but the people that then hear about it and cover it up, also have to have some level of homophobia too.
Exactly. Speak out, sister.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really interesting, though. I was reading about a story from Dorothy's point of view, and she said that when she thought about it, Schindler did come out to her, which is really interesting that he could come out to her and her not think, she basically didn't think it was true. She said he was always trying to mess with her. So he thought it was just one of those things that she'd ignore, and eventually he would stop trying to mess with her like that. But later she made the connection that, okay, this is true. And she had to go through her own, after her son was dead, go through her own, accepting that her son was actually gay. During the trial, Helvey, the one that killed him, said he didn't kill him because he was gay. And this is back when they were all still trying to piece together, his mom's trying to figure out why this is happening. Luckily, that's a weird word to say, but at least one of the Navy investigators provided evidence during the trial because he interrogated Helvey, and Helvey had said to him during that interrogation that he hated homosexuals, he was disgusted by them, and he said, "I don't regret it. I'd do it again. He deserved it."
Oh my God, that's awful.
So it's so crazy how he that was the interrogation, and then the next some number of days later during the trial, then he was to oh, I didn't do that.
Yeah, change his tune.
Yeah, it just seems like he's this lunatic because of how he can act. He said the day before his sentencing, he turned to Dorothy and said, among other things, he said to her, "What happened that night was horrible, but I am not a horrible person. I put my life in your hands." He said that all while sobbing.
Oh, God.
Which is fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off, bro. Yeah.
that's the like, if you can be crazy enough to say he deserved it and I would do it again, and then the next day or whenever, like, look at his mom and be like, what happened was horrible. Like,
It's so fucked up.
So he would have been up for the death penalty, but he pled guilty in a plea deal. And so he pled guilty to inflicting great bodily harm.
What?
Yeah, that seemed like a weird... That's
interesting.
They're very great bodily harm, like so great.
Right.
And the maximum penalty is life in prison. So he's currently in a medium security U.S. prison in Illinois. I wish I had better news. Okay, so one of his accomplice, Vince, who by other witness testimony, like, would every now and then would like jump in with I don't know, some kind of like kicking him or doing whatever. Mm-hmm. He pled guilty, and also a plea bargain where he gave up a lot of information against Helvey.
Wow.
And as a result, he was sentenced to 1 year in prison, and he ended up serving 78 days before receiving a general discharge from the Navy.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine, like, 78 days?
Just for all that shit?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's our justice system. It's so great.
I know. I think, and this is like specifically like a military
right
martial court.
Yeah. What is that called? Yeah. Army man court.
Yeah. This is the army person court with all the army people. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about. I did look up a lot of words for this, but
You sound very smart. So you're fooling me at least.
Oh, that's so nice. I just want to trick people into thinking I'm funny and smart. That's all I care about. Yeah, but so this is the military trying him. So like this is also not just our justice system, but how the military, especially at this time, treat people that are gay. And his name is not Brat; it's Brand. Brand.
Brat was so much better.
Brat. We're gonna
bit more.
It's actually Brat. That Dick Brat captain, the one. So he was one that hid all this information during the trial. He got transferred to shore duty in Florida.
Shore duty.
That sounds like a fucking vacation.
Shore duty. Like, is that like the sandals of Florida?
Yes.
Oh man, I'm terrible. I make jokes out of tragedy. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's what this podcast is here for.
Yeah. People, don't be offended. It's great. It's sad. I'm very sad.
Declaring how sad you are loudly is that makes up for it. No, it's like, it's just so ridiculous that, like, what else? I don't know what else. Yeah. Well, how do you? It sounds to me like it reminds me of the church, like people just getting sent to a different place to be like, oh, just go over here. And I don't know what shore duty includes. But.
Right. It's kind of like all those like Me Too people, that all the like famous actors that are getting like sent off to like a rehab in Palm Springs or something. Like, how much, rehab are they actually getting? How much, like help are they getting, or are
they just like laying low for a little bit
just
until
lounging
they can...
a bit? Yeah,
exactly. I guess a little bit of upside is that Dorothy, the mom, became an outspoken LGBT advocate. So she went from she thought gay people were I should have written down, like, there was apparently some character on MASH, which was
before my time.
Okay. And he would like always like cross-dress to try to get kicked out of the military. Like, that's what I think like a lot of people in this time, their idea of gay people were like men who wore dresses, and like she could not imagine someone like her son who was blonde and athletic, and her son, like, she couldn't imagine this being what gay people were like. So she's a Republican, or she's a working class mother from a Republican town. So the fact that she then became an LGBT advocate, some people said it's even more powerful than if it was a gay person speaking out, because what? Absolutely.
Yeah. I think, just speaking off of that, I think it's true even, back then and today. I feel like because I've met so many conservative people that as soon as they meet a gay person and realize they're not some like sexual deviant, all the stereotypes, I think that's when they're able to reach acceptance. And it sounds like this is what that mother was able to do. And she saw that, her son wasn't this cartoon of a gay person. He was an actual like whole human. And
yeah. And then she actually got to is like, that's no one would want to be in this situation, but she met a lot of gay people and then started to realize that it is not this image that she had in her mind.
Right.
And I don't know why I like this. She calls herself the stupidest person on earth. She just acknowledges she is like, you know, she knows she's like a working class mother from like, she's not articulate and she is not well dressed. And all that actually went to add to like the fact that she could stand up in front of people and be like, look, I am just like you. I think she said a lot of times, this could have been your son.
Absolutely.
So all this, the bigger context of this case is that after Schindler's death, Bill Clinton, who is running for president at the time, brought this up in debates about LGBT people in the military. And during his campaign, he promised to lift the ban on gay service members. Of course, then when he was elected in 1993, there was a big backlash among military leaders, Congress members. So don't ask, don't tell was the policy that was the compromise, which even though like some of those things when you look back on, ranging from like don't ask to don't tell to like DOMA to even Will and Grace, like things that were progressive at the time, it's like this mixed bag of like, yes, that's shitty that don't ask, don't tell in retrospect, but it was actually really progressive and really good thing for the times. Yeah.
It's like almost like at the, like where the culture was at that time, you know, when those things were happening at those times, it was super progressive and different and ever changing. And, I think so much of the progress that we've made has to do with where we're at as a culture.
Yeah. So. And I wrestle with like, you know, of course you want to say fight for like the real end goal is just every queer person can serve in the military openly. But like, you know, you do have to take steps there. So I always wrestle with like some of those things that you look back on. But this also became a TV film in 1997 called Any Mother's Son, and it won a GLAAD Media Award for Outstanding Made-for-TV Movie.
Oh, I was an intern at GLAAD.
Were you really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. What'd you do there?
I was their GLAAD Media Awards coordinator. And it was in 2013 or something like that. It was the year that Jennifer Lawrence came. She got a haircut, and that's all anybody talked about. They didn't talk about the amazing progress that we've made as a community. They talked about the fact that Jennifer got a haircut. So, gotta love our news media.
That's... Okay, one, I did not know this about you. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And wait, was it like... Who were the ones talking about the haircut? Were all the gays at GLAAD?
I mean, it was the gays and like the news media. Like because the next day I did a Google News search of GLAAD Media Awards. It was all about how Jennifer Lawrence had chopped off her hair, gotten highlights, and just it was just so ridiculous that was the headline that so many people caught on to. But
was it? I wonder if it's like. We can't relate to all this gay shit, like, and like that part of it. But we understand women's hair, and women cutting their hair is crazy, and we have to tell everyone about it.
It's a huge fucking deal.
Gay rights, yeah. But her hair length is half.
Yeah. I hope her hair wasn't homophobic, because that would have been terrible for everyone involved.
That's why she chopped the bottom half off. The bottom half, Reynolds. The bottom half was the half that hated gay people, and she just had to get
rid of all the bottoms. Yep. That's what I'm
saying. So are you asking me to leave? Is that what you're doing right now?
I'm also a bottom, so I guess we both have to leave.
All right,
now.
Okay, bye. That was fun.
It was great. Bye, everyone.
No. We're not going anywhere. Okay, that was the story I want to tell you. You can tell me a story.
I want to say beautiful, but it's actually tragic.
Yeah.
I will edit myself.
Horrible.
Yes, terrible. No good news.
Yeah,
bears.
But one that I had never heard of.
Right.
And I'm sure people that like were older during that time remember more vividly than I do.
Yeah, and I think it's a great testament to, you know, his mother's love and just, you know, how far she's willing to go to piece together what happened, because you know, he could have easily gone unreported and we never would have known. So
yeah. From what I saw, she was like very much in front of the media, and it was almost like a healing for her. She was like, I was so angry that like, actually, like I got nervous when I didn't get a phone call from like someone in the news, because it was helpful to like get that story out there.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Although it sucks, like, I mean, I think one of the lessons is like, it sucks that her son had to get murdered for her to get there. Like, don't wait for your child to get murdered to like to work on acceptance. Like, imagine if they weren't there, how you would feel about them. And it probably doesn't actually matter that they're gay or non-binary or trans or whatever. You probably just want your child there.
Exactly. It's better to have them alive than dead and beaten and everything mutilated.
Yeah,
so
totally. If we're comparing two things, alive, much better.
Alive, mutilated, which one do you want?
Yeah, we'll go for the alive one.
Yeah, choose your own adventure. Oh, God.
Why don't you, speaking of an adventure, let's go on an adventure with a story from you.
Yay! So the date was April 2018. I unfortunately did not do a research project, so this is a personal story because I'm obsessed with talking about myself.
No, do it.
So I was best friends with somebody in college. We were super close. You know, I was in college for 5 years because I'm a failure and it took me a year longer than everybody else. That's besides the point. Anyway, so I had this best friend who we were pretty much did everything together. We were super close. You know, people said we were basically the same person. And it was always kind of discussed that when we got married, the other person would be in their wedding. And so flash forward, I don't know, like last year, I suppose, and my friend meets her now husband, and it was decided that I would be in the wedding, as you know, as previously discussed. And everything seemed super great. I was really excited. So 3 days before the wedding, I got a call that said, if I'm in the wedding, the groom's parents aren't going to come because they don't agree with my quote unquote lifestyle.
Just for you, it wasn't even you getting married. You were just
right. I was just like attending the wedding, and I didn't even have that huge of a role. I was literally like the ring bearer. So the fact that they were so caught up in the fact that I was gay that they like wouldn't even come to the wedding if I was in it, it was just so fucked up and like so heartbreaking. And we were both, you know, just crying about it. And she was saying how, you know, they're just conservative. That's all they've ever known. And so, yeah, that was 3 days before the wedding. So I had a good 3 days to think about whether I was actually going to attend or not. And I think, I don't know, I did go back and forth, like, you know, like a lot of people, because I had a boyfriend at the time, and he's like, fuck that, I wouldn't. Oh, God. He's here. He's here. He's in the crotch. Okay.
Whew. Okay, so you went back and forth.
So yeah, so I was going back and forth, and I was like, do I go to this wedding? Do I not go to this wedding? And it
sounded like your friend was a little bit defending her fiance's parents.
That was the thing. Like she was in a position where she didn't want to ruffle any feathers. Like, she's very much the type of person that like hates any kind of confrontation. And so she was really struggling. Like, she was crying because she felt terrible because, you know, I'm her best friend. She wants me in the wedding. But then her, you know, what are they called? Parents-in-law? Whatever. They, you know, they're giving her this ultimatum that, like, if I'm in the wedding, then they're not going to go. So it's just like, well, shit, what does she do?
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people were like, well, she should have defended you. She should have done this. But it's just, I don't know. It was such a hard thing. And I think I reached a point where it was just like, you know, this is her wedding day. I shouldn't make it all about me. And so I did end up going to the wedding, and it was super devastating. Like, they did the rehearsal, and I started crying because it was just like, it was so hard to watch, you know, everybody being a part of the wedding and not being able to be in it just because I was gay.
So you attended, but like not as the ring bearer?
Right, exactly. Like, I was replaced by some woman or man, or I don't even know.
Whoever it is, I hate them.
Yeah, we don't know them. We don't know them.
We don't like them. It's probably like a 3-year-old girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we hate that child.
We hate them.
And so did her fiance's parents come then?
Yeah, they did end up coming, and it was just so awkward and just really it was really like draining emotionally, because it was just like I didn't, we're in, it's so dumb to say, but it's like, it's 2017, like aren't we like beyond this or whatever? Yeah. But it was just like a really like a punch in the gut to realize that like people like this actually do still exist. Like homophobes are still out there, hiding in the shadows, and
or sometimes
not.
Outward.
They're very vocal about their homophobia. In which case, watch out and avoid weddings at all costs.
That's a good rule for all of us anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God.
I'm not a big fan of weddings.
I know. I'm like secretly a hopeless romantic, but also realize that they're beyond ridiculous. And like, I think some of the best weddings I've been to, they've just like looked at it as like as a party versus like a celebration of love.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Just get us drunk and I'm happy. So.
Did you interact with with the groom's parents at all?
I mean, we said hello. I was very cordial. Again, like part of me I was wondering, like, the night before I was thinking of like all the shit I was going to say to them, like, fuck you and, whatever. But I think I just ultimately decided to not make a scene, because again, it just came back to like, I love my friend. This is supposed to be her day. This is like, her happy day. Why am I going to go and like fuck it up by being dramatic or whatever?
Yeah.
And so my one solution was I have this shirt that says like love is love, and so I actually wore that the day of the wedding, just to kind of to show them that bigotry will not prevail and that I will continue to be fucking gay as shit and they're just gonna have to deal with it.
Oh.
So it's been interesting ever since the wedding. Like, I feel like we're still really good friends, but it's definitely just kind of like this thing it's still kind of always there. And I don't know if it'll ever change, or like, I don't know. But I still do love my friend like dearly, dearly. And I hope that she's happy. So yeah.
I think this is like one of the things that makes me really mad when people are like, it's, you're saying like it's 2017 or now it's 2018, like, and everyone's like, you just get over it, like It's fine. And what you don't realize is even like the numbers of like people that approve of same-sex marriage, it's like right down the middle. Like it's not like it's 90% of people approve. Like even just getting basic level acceptance of people of gay people, basic level of acceptance from people of gay people. There's a way less confusing way to say that. Anyway. But like,
I mean, go with it.
Thanks.
I love a good tongue twister.
You'll think about that and reflect on it while I try to figure out what I was saying. But it's still like very prevalent, just for the basics, much less being able to adopt and equality in the workplace. And
yeah.
That's a really shitty situation.
Yeah, it was really shitty, but I think, I don't know. It's like that thing where you just have to, because homophobes do exist, and I think once you accept that they exist, they don't have as much power over you. Like I feel like when you're able to, I don't know, just know that they're out there, but know that you're out here and you're living your life. I think that's when you can, reach a point of acceptance and just knowing that you are a good person. Whether you're gay or straight, like it doesn't, like in the end, sexuality should not be a defining characteristic of who you are as a person. So,
and it seems like they are wasting a lot of like mental energy hating a group of people in what I don't see as like very much benefit.
Right.
Like,
it's such a little thing.
Yeah. Also, something else that was really poignant is just about to come out of my mouth, and it's just,
oh my God, I'm sure it was so beautiful. We're just gonna cry about it.
About how beautiful it probably was.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Like you were like, you're saying like, oh, like you're thinking about during this situation, I don't want to make this about me. I don't want to kind of cause a stir, but like they were the ones that caused it. Like you weren't the ones that caused anything.
Right.
It wasn't you. It wasn't your friend. It was them that were the ones that were like causing it. I hope they went through like, they probably didn't. Like, it just sucks that the two of you were the people that had to deal with that when like, and think about what should I do? And I don't want to be a burden, but when really it was them that were the ones that were like.
And at the end of the day, it just became like, you know, how much energy do I actually want to spend toward this? You know, like I could go like full social justice warrior on their ass and like cause a scene and fucking like take a sledgehammer to the wedding cake. But at the end of the day, it was just like, what would I accomplish by doing that? The way that I looked at it, it was like, if I can just show them that, you know, I'm just a normal person walking around eating cake, fucking getting my fucking wine glass filled up. Like, if they can just see that I'm not some sexual deviant that's like looking to plow everybody in sight, I think that's what I wanted them to see the most, is that like gay people are humans. We're not some alien creature force that's gonna come down and make all the children gay and like, you know, we're not shitting rainbows and fucking vomiting unicorn dust. Like, I don't know. I mean, some of us are, and we should. I think there's pride to be found in that. Yeah. But I think for me, it was just all about showing, like, you know, we can still connect human to human regardless of our sexuality. So
yeah. By the way, now that you said it, I really want to like, I should open up a store that lets you just like take a sledgehammer to a wedding cake.
Yes.
Because that actually sounds like a lot of fun.
I know. I feel like it'd be very therapeutic. Like anytime that you're just like, fuck it, you can just take that sledgehammer and yeah.
We're going to start a business called like destroy the tears of marriage.
Love doesn't always win. When it doesn't, take a sledgehammer to it.
Oh yeah, that's a very long business name, but maybe
it'll be the slogan.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Do you want to take a break?
Sure, let's do it. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
break.
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, we're gonna have to pay for that copyright.
I know. Oh my gosh.
This is the part where
Josh
and Kyle take a break.
Hey everyone, it's Kyle. We will get back to the show in just a second, but first I wanted to ask for your help. As you may know, we lost last year at the Podcast Awards, so this year it is our goal to dominate the competition like a true Dom Top pod, so we could use your help getting on to the next round. To do that, all you have to do is go to podcastawards.com, click the nominations button. You'll have to create an account, but we both know that you have a spam account that you can plug in there. All you have to do is select Gayish, this podcast, the one that you're listening to, in the LGBTQ section, and then hit save. Nominations are open until July 31st, so that's just a few days away. So it'll only take a couple minutes, and it would really help us out. Thanks.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Mike-ish. I'm not dead. Right now I'm in Moscow, the one in Russia, not in Idaho, although it's lovely this time of year there as well. I'm having a great time. I'm meeting a lot of really cool people and seeing a lot of the country, which is pretty fantastic. I took the train from Vladivostok all the way on the East Coast, on the Pacific Ocean, all the way to Moscow. And I'm having an awesome time. I learned a couple of things. One is that Sweden and Switzerland are not the same place. The guy that I shared my train cabin with is from Switzerland, and he said that a lot of Americans confuse those two. So Kyle, that you should know that now. I met a maybe prostitute. I'm not sure. I was having breakfast in Irkutsk, and this girl named Alex, who was wasted, came up to me and said that she thought it was really sexy the way that I eat sausage, and asked if I wanted her to eat my sausage, which was interesting. But then she told me that one of the waiters is gay, which I thought was really interesting because it's Russia and you're not supposed to talk about these things. And I didn't get the sense that she was saying it in a derogatory way, in a judgy kind of way. She just wanted me to know, I guess. I thought it was really interesting. So a couple of things. The cross-dressing soldier from MASH, his name was Corporal Klinger, and he was played by Jamie Farr. And I think he's a really interesting character. If you don't know who he is, he was pretending to be a cross-dresser in an attempt to get discharged from the army so that he could go home. The whole show takes place during the Korean War, and his whole thing was to try to get a Section 8, which is discharged from the army for being crazy. And I thought it was really interesting that they didn't let that work. It was almost progressive in a way, that even though he was wearing a dress all over the place, the army was just like, no, we don't care. Anyway, and the other thing, our phone number is 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply. I'm going to do my gayest and straightest real quick. So the gayest thing about me this week, I went to a modern art museum here in Moscow called The Garage. And there was a whole, I guess, installation. There was a whole exhibit of photography. And one of the pieces of photography was this massive, like, wall-sized mural of a dude standing on somebody's grave, drinking beer and smoking a cigarette, completely naked. He was just nude, standing on this person's grave. And the reason it's gay for me is that I totally avoided the photograph because I didn't want anybody to think that I was looking at it too long or not looking at it long enough, or I just had that really gay anxiety about being seen doing something gay, which it wasn't even a sexy photograph. I don't know. Just the fact that there was a dick there made me like have to change my behavior. It was really weird. And then the straightest thing about me this week definitely was last night. I went to the Soviet Arcade Museum, which is this collection of really, really old video games, and all from the Soviet Union. And Benjamin, the guy that I shared a train car with, he and I met up there and played foosball, and we played electric table hockey, and it was so butch. I was spinning and yelling and really all sportsy. I was so sportsy. It was sporting. Yeah, so that's it. I've been having an awesome time, and I'll be back next week. And be butch, be fabulous, be you. No, wait, that's me. I'm going to be butch. I'm going to be fabulous. I'm going to be me. I'm going to a gay bar tonight in Moscow, so hopefully I don't die. I love you all. Talk to you soon.
Are we back?
We are back.
We are back.
We're back, bitches.
You're very different than Mike.
Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry ever. So we're going to do our gayest and straightest.
Love it.
But first, we'll start with Josh. You start with your social things.
Yay, let's make it all about me first. I do all of the social things. It's part of my job, not McDill. You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/JoshG23, Twitter at ClassyJGlassy, Instagram, JoshGlassy23, fucking XTube. I don't know. What are the other social things? No, I'm not on XTube. I would never.
You're on it in an incognito browser, so they can't find you there.
Exactly. I'm hiding.
And gayishpodcast.com. And let's see. We have a phone number that Mike usually says, so you can find that on the internet somewhere, and that'll be fine.
Probably on XTube.
On XTube. Call the XTube support line. Mike is working there. He's not actually in Russia, and he'll answer. You can email us at gayishpodcast@gmail.com, and we are on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at gayishpodcast. So gayest and straightest.
Love it.
Josh, do you want to go first?
Oh my God. Well, the gayest thing. Well, my boyfriend of 3 months, hot and heavy. He was in DC the last 2 weeks. So basically like half our relationship, he was gone. But he has since returned, and we're back to having sexual relations. So that's probably my gayest thing.
Good. The gay sex you're having?
Yeah. Actually, we're having straight sex. We're trying it out.
Oh, yeah?
It's a new thing. We're trying to switch it up, keep the spark alive.
Okay, yeah. You got to always do new things.
Yeah,
and see
always.
Okay.
Always.
Next up, bisex.
Yes.
See how it goes.
I love it. Yeah, the flip-flop that shit. Okay, then what else? The straightest thing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I think the straightest thing that I have been doing is actually at work. So one of our clients, they help girls in Africa. They're all about female education. And probably the straightest thing that I've done recently is having to talk about girl periods. And so I'm learning a lot about the menstruation cycle. It's been really great. I've been doing a lot of mansplaining about how the female body works to different reporters. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I think I've learned quite a bit about how the lady parts work. So
Is there any like big tidbit that you learned that you didn't know before that you want to give us?
No, it's not worth talking about. Ask one of your lady friends. They'll tell you all about it.
Okay.
I did hear that a lot of, I mean, this is not related to work, but I do know that a lot of women are like more turned on their periods than when they're not. So
I
if
would have
there's
never
any-
known because
yeah.
I've never tried to have sex with a lady.
Yeah, so straight men, if you're listening, wait till the blood is flowing.
This is when the blood will be flowing for you.
Yes. That sounds beautiful, but also like trash at the same time.
I don't know where we okay, let's get out of this ditch that we're in. I'm going to my gayest thing is that I had never felt gayer than when, well, that's not true, but like recently my boss was trying to give an example of like what one of these clients is like that I work with, and he was like, you know, there's that show, I think it's like Will and Grace, and so he started explaining Jack to me. He was like,
No.
you know, like Jack walks in and it's like he's had a bunch of coffee, and he was like, it was just so funny hearing my straight boss describe Will and Grace to me,
God.
and I just felt so gay because I didn't know when to be like,
You have it all wrong.
you don't need to explain. Yes, the show is called Will and Grace. Yes, I know about Jack. I know he talks really fast. It was just,
He knows nothing, Jon Snow.
he's what?
That's Game of Thrones.
Ah,
not
fuck,
one
I
of
don't
this,
watch
but-
that thing.
Ah, damn it.
You
Well,
would have to mansplain that
yeah,
to me.
yeah. Oh, let me get started here.
I watched the first episode and it was something about wolves in the winter, and I was just over it.
I think I watched that first episode like 87 times before I actually got to the second episode. It takes a moment to get into
Okay.
it, but once you do, there's no
I
stopping.
guess I'm just letting this craze pass me by.
Right.
I'll jump on the next one.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the straightest thing about me is that it is super hot in the summer here in Seattle, and in Seattle people don't have ACs.
Yes.
But I hooked up my portable AC unit in my place. I lost some of the things that you need to like screw it in, so there was a lot of duct tape being involved. Like I just feel like that's like we're just going to use duct tape and make this thing work.
Yeah.
And I think
Duct tape is always the answer.
I know, and it worked.
Yeah.
And now my place is kind of nice.
Aw.
So yeah.
What did we do? I think in Montana, because we're all trash, we would take a fan and then fill like a Ziploc bag full of ice, and then zip the Ziploc bag with ice on the fan and have it blow. I don't know if it actually ever worked, but I like to think that it did.
There's AC in the hallway of my unit, so a lot of people like crack open their doors and then put a fan in front of that to try to blow in the cool air from the hallway.
Way to utilize your resources.
You know, it's just like when you get hot, it doesn't. You just look around and say, "What can I do?"
That's when you know you're desperate, is when you're trying to like steal the hallway AC into your apartment.
Or I turned on the vent fan in my bathroom because I was like, I think it was like cooler in the bathroom.
Right.
I think the vent fan like circulates air, so I put a fan in front of the bathroom.
Oh, that's
this was
so
before
smart.
I didn't know whether it was genius or like ridiculous.
Oh my
I
god,
thought
you're
that would
so
help.
straight right now. Oh my god, you can't even handle it.
Just finding creative work solutions.
Yeah.
Solutions with tools and items.
Yes.
Yeah, and the way I'm talking about it now, also so straight.
So straight.
You know, duct tape and fans. So that's it.
While we sip on our rosé.
We'll sip on rosé and eat our pink cookies.
Yes.
So that's it. This has been Gayish. I'm Kyle Getz.
And I'm Josh Galassi, aka Mike.
Hey, new Mike. We'll
I am
see you.
in Russia.
You sound just like him. So until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
Thank you.
See you next week. Thanks for being on, Josh.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yay.
Finish off this.
Cheers to the rosé.
Do you hear what your words bring? Oh, P.S. I'm gay.
Rosé and cookies. Here we go.